Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another casual deck building. Today we're going to be doing normal green stuff. For our commander, I went with Nylea, God of the Hunt. She is 3 mana and a green for a legendary enchantment creature. Indestructible. As long as your devotion to green is less than 5, she's not a creature, meaning you need 5 of these green pips up here at the top. Oh, it's a little bendy. I hate those cards. You think. Anyway. Other creatures you control have trample, or you can pay 3 and a green to give target creature +2/+2 until end of turn, and she's a 6/6. That is going to be our commander. Something nice, something simple. Don't have to worry too much or think too much about it. Just some simple stuff. We're going to start off with a forest. Forests are great. We love forests. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. It's a legendary land, taps for a colorless, or you can pay 2 and tap it. You choose a color, and add an amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion to that color. Normal green stuff. Worm's Tooth, 2 mana. It's an artifact. When a player plays a green spell, you gain a life. Arachnogenesis, 2 and a green. Instant. Create X 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-spider creatures. Good way to build up some tokens. Green Forest. We got our Shadow Spear here, 1 mana. Equip creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink. Or you can pay 1 and permanence. Your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. 2 mana to equip that. We got Galadrim Ambush, 3 mana and a green. Create X 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-elf creatures. Apex Devastator, 8 mana and 2 green. Cascade, 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 Cascade. And it is a 10/10. Cascade means when you cast it, you then get to exile cards from the top of your library that equal it was either the mana or the power. I think it was the mana. Anyway, less than one of those two things, and you get to do that 4 times. So you get 4 free cards out, basically. Another forest. Kogla, the Titan Ape, 3 and 3 green. When it enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. And then whenever it attacks, you destroy target artifact or enchantment a defending player controls. You can also pay 1 and a green to return target human you control to its owner's hand, and Kogla gains indestructible until end of turn. It's a 7/6. Darksteel Plate, 3 mana, equipment, indestructible, and equip creature has indestructible. Equip cost 2. Forest. Idol of Oblivion, 2 mana. It's an artifact that you draw a card, but you can activate it only if you created a token this turn. Or you can pay 8 mana to sacrifice it and create a 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature token. Normal green stuff. Rampaging Baloths, 4 and 2 green. Trample. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. 6/6. Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. When you cast this spell, you draw 4 cards. It has Annihilator 4, meaning when this creature attacks, defending player sacrifices 4 permanents. When Kozilek, the Butcher of Truth, is put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. It's a 12/12, 10 mana. It's a big creature. It's not green, it's colorless, but that's what green does. Staff of the Wild Mages, 3 mana. It's an artifact. Whenever you cast a green spell or a forest enters the battlefield under your control, gain a life. Vorinclex, 3 mana and 2 green. Trample and Reach. When Vorinclex enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 forest cards. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. You can pay 6 mana and 2 to exile him, return him to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control only as a sorcery. Normally a 6/6. But turns into a saga, the Grand Evolution. Stage 1, mill 10 cards. Put up to 2 creature cards from among the milled cards onto the battlefield. Stage 2, distribute 7 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. Stage 3, until end of turn, creatures you control gain pay 1 mana. This creature fights target creature you don't control. Exile this, then return it onto the battlefield. Face up. You know, normal green stuff. Sword of Light and Shadow, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from white and black. When equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you gain 3 life, and you may return up to 1 target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Equip cost 2. You keep getting in the way. Yes, I said that. Master's Rebuke, 1 and a green. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Forest. Ojer Kaslem, Deepest Growth, 3 and 2 green. Trample. Whenever Kaslem deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. You may put a creature card and or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. When Ojer Kaslem dies, return to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control. It is Temple of Cultivation. It's a land that taps for green. Or you can pay 2 and a green to transform it, but only activate it if you control 10 or more permanents and only as a sorcery. 10 or more permanents, meaning the city's blessing, or the blessing of the city, or whatever you want to call it. And then it comes back as that little guy there. Fog, 1 green, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn. Way to keep yourself alive and functioning. Life Force, 2 green. It's an enchantment. You can pay 2 green to counter a target black spell. That's just fun. Green doesn't have any counter spells, so just having that in there only for blacks, it's just kind of funny. Gilded Lotus, 5 mana. Tap it for 3 mana of any one color. Forest. Lurking Predators, 4 mana, 2 black. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, it's an enchantment. Reveal the top card of your library. If it is a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put that card onto the bottom of your library. Flare of Cultivation, 1 and 2 green. You may sacrifice a non-token green creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards. Put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, then shuffle. It's basically just a Cultivate or Kodama's Reach. Forest. Boseiju, Who Endures. Legendary land, taps for a green. Pay 1 and a green, and discard it from your hand. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land an opponent controls. That player may search for their library for a land card with a basic land type. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. Forest. Nissa's Pilgrimage, 2 and a green. Search your library for 2 basic lands, 2 basic forest cards. Reveal them and put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the rest into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Spell Mastery. If there are 2 or more instant and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, search your library for up to 3 basic forest cards instead of 2. Gotta do all that green ramping. Seedborn Muse, 3 and 2 green. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. It's a 2/4 creature. Crack Open, 2 and a green. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Create a treasure token. That's great. We like that. Parallel Lives, 3 and a green. Enchantment. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many instead. Fresh Meat, 3 and a green. Instant. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token for each creature put into your graveyard from the battlefield this turn. It's a good way to rebuild your board if someone decides to board wipe stuff. Forest. Burgeoning, 1 green. Enchantment. Whenever an opponent plays a land, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Defense of the Heart, 3 and a green. Enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls 3 or more creatures, sacrifice Defense of the Heart. Search your library for up to 2 creature cards. Put those onto the cards onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Green. Monster Manual, 3 and a green. Its sorcery phase is Zoological Study, 2 and a green. Mill 5 cards, then return a creature card milled this way to your hand. Or normally, you can pay 1 and a green to tap it and put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. There's a lot of ways to cheat out some big creatures. Exploration, it's an enchantment. 1 green. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Forest. Tower Defense, that's a fun game. 1 and a green. Creatures you control get +0/+5 and gain reach until end of turn. Triplicate Titan, 9 mana. Flying, Vigilance, and Trample. Create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token with flying, a 3/3 with vigilance, and a 3/3 with trample if this dies. Otherwise, it's a 9/9. Forest. Sereth, the Viper's Fang, 2 and 2 green. Other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof. You can pay 1 and tap it to untap another target creature or land you control. It's a 3/4. Forest. Soul Ring, 1 mana, tap for 2 colorless. Ancient Tomb, tap for 2 colorless and deals 2 damage to you. It's a land. Eladamri, Corvectal, 1 and 2 green. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. You can pay a green, tap it, and then tap 2 untapped creatures you control. Reveal a card from your hand or the top of your library. If it is a creature card, if you reveal a creature card this way, put it onto the battlefield, activate only during your turn. It's a 3/3. Shiny Forest. Reliquary Tower, no maximum hand size, taps for colorless. Nyx Bloom Ancient, 4 colorless and 3 green, enchantment creature. Trample, if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. It's a 5/5. That's fun stuff. More forests. We like forests. Staff of Titania, 2 mana. It's an equipment. Equipped creature gets +X/+X, where X is the number of forests you control. We have a lot of forests. And then whenever equipped creature attacks, create a 1/1 green forest dryad land creature token. Equip costs 3. Oh no, we have another Vorinclex here. Voice of Hunger, 6 and 2 green. Trample. Whenever you tap land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. When an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. It's a 7/6. That's a mean boy. Elder Gargaroth, 3 and 2 green for a Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. Whenever it attacks or blocks, you choose 1. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token. You gain 3 life, or you draw a card. It's a 6/6. God Eternal Ronus, 3 and 2 green, Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, double the power of each other creature you control until end of turn. Those creatures gain Vigilance until end of turn. When Ronus dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library, 3rd from the top. It's a 5/5. I bet you can already see what's happening here. It's just normal green stuff, nothing to worry about. Scepter of Celebration, 2 and a green. It's an equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has trample. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Equipped cost 3. Kodama of the East Tree. Apparently there's like 4 of these guys. 4 and 2 green. Reach. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control. If it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser mana value from your hand onto the battlefield. It is a partner, so you can have it as a commander if that commander also has partner. And it's a 6/6. Sword of Sinew and Steel, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from black and red. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target planeswalker and up to 1 target artifact. Equip cost 2. Verdant Command, 1 and a green. Instant, choose 2. Target player creates 2 tapped 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. Counter target loyalty ability of a planeswalker. That's a fun one. Exile target card from a graveyard, and target player gains 3 life. This is in a different language. I think that's French. La créature equipée à la salute et le maybe, I don't know. But it is Lightning Greaves. 2 mana. It is an equipment. Equipped creature has Shroud and Haste. Equip cost 0. I got it because the art was pretty. I like Gala Greeters, 1 and a green. Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on Gala Greeters. Create a tapped treasure token. You gain 2 life. It's a 1/1. The Great Henge, 7 and 2 green. It's a legendary artifact. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. You can tap it for 2 green and you gain 2 life. Then, whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card. You need, I know you want to participate, but like you got to work with me here. Okay? Right in the middle of recording. Choke! 2 and a green. Enchantment. Islands do not untap during their controller's untap phases. This is a great card to shut down blue players and their counterspells. They are so mean. It's so mean. Now, I don't think it counts as land destruction because land destruction was like a thing in the new brackets. But that's questionable because it does shut down blue people. So just be wary. Questing Beast, 2 and 2 green. Vigilance, Death Touch, and Haste. Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. Whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls. It's a 4/4. Going to take a quick swig. Ah, yeah, good stuff. In Search of Greatness, 2 green. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a permanent spell from your hand with mana value equal to 1, plus the highest mana value among other permanents you control without paying its mana cost. If you don't, scry 1. Forest. Rona's Monument, 3 mana. It's a legendary artifact. Green creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast a creature spell, target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. There's another good one to add into this deck that I don't have, I believe, is Goreclaw. That one reduces creatures in power 4 or greater, and it gives trample, and it's fun stuff. So if you have a Goreclaw, include that into this one because that would work real well with everything. Lure of Prey. 2 and 2 green. It's an instant. Cast the spell only if an opponent cast a creature spell this turn. You may put a green creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Tanuki Transplanter, 3 and a green. It's an artifact creature equipment dog. Whenever Tanuki Transplanter or equipped creature attacks, add an amount of green mana equal to its power. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Reconfigure 3. That basically pay 3 to attach it to a creature, or to unattach it, only as a sorcery. It is not a creature while it's attached. Forest. Beastmaster Ascension, 3 and a green. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension. As long as Beastmaster Ascension has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5. More green stuff. We love it. 5 and 2 green, Legendary Dragon. Old Gnawbone, baby. Flying. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. It is a 7/7. Chef's Kiss is beautiful. Cultivate. 2 and a green. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards. Put one onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, then shuffle. Nature's Claim, 1 green. Instant destroy target artifact or enchantment. Its controller gains 4 life. Forest. Sword of Body and Mind, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from green and from blue. Equipped creature deals combat damage to a player. You create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, and that player mills 10 cards. Equip cost 2. And unfortunately, there's a little scratch on that too, which is unfortunate. Tireless Tracker, 2 and a green. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. meaning create a clue artifact token, which is pay 2 to sacrifice this artifact to draw a card. And then whenever you sacrifice a clue, you put a +1/+1 counter on Tireless Tracker. 3 and a 2. Tempt with Discovery, 3 and a green. Search your library for a land card and put it onto the battlefield. Each opponent may search their library for a land card and put it onto the battlefield. For each opponent who searches their library this way, search your library for a land card and put it onto the battlefield. Then each player who searched their library this way shuffles. So that's a good way for you to ramp up some stuff and help each other out as well. It's great. Somber Walled Sage, 2 and a green. Add 3 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. It's 0/1. Destiny Spinner, 1 and a green, enchantment creature. Creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. 3 and a 1, 3 and a green. Target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature with trample and haste until end of turn, where X is the number of enchantments you control. It's still a land. She's a 2/3. And Emerald Medallion, 2 mana. Green spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Good stuff. We're gonna. You're probably okay, but we're gonna just to make sure. Alrighty, Wrap and Vigor, 1 and a green. Instant. Regenerate each creature you control. So if there's a board wipe, they're coming back. You're fine. It's great. Seed Time, 1 and a green. Cast this spell only during your turn. Take an extra turn after this one if an opponent casts a blue spell this turn. Depending upon how the bracket system works, taking an extra turn, you're not chaining the extra turn, so you don't need to worry about it. So taking 1 extra turn isn't super detrimental. But let your people know in your pod. Augur of Autumn, 1 and 2 green. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play land cards from the top of your library. As long as you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. It's 2/3. Forest. Decanter of Endless Water, 3 mana. You have no maximum hand size. Add a mana of any color. Hex Drinker, 1 green. You can pay a mana to level it up. Put a level counter on this. Level up only as a sorcery. Starts out as a 2/1, and then from level 3 to 7, it's a 4/4 with protection from instants. And levels 8 plus has protection from everything and is a 6/6. Croshen Grip, 2 and a 1 green. Split Second. As long as this spell is on the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Forest. Wildborn Preserver, 1 and a green. Flash and Reach. Whenever another non-human creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay X. When you do, put X +1/+1 counters on Wildborn Preserver. 2/2. Guy's Cradle. Legendary land. Add 1 green for each creature you control. This is an expensive card, and I don't think it's on anything. Actually, let's double check. I can't remember. Pretty sure it's not there. I should be using my computer. It's right next to me. It is not banned. Cool. That's what that says. But that's AI overview. What is this nonsense? Let's look specifically under Commander ban list. Because that feels like that would be a banned card. That's really good. Especially if they don't destroy your creatures and you do a lot of creature stuff. Gitax, Glimpse, Golgari, Great Grief. Those are the only G's in Commander. So Guy's Cradle is not banned. Awesome. You're all set. Do it. It's fun. We love it. And finally, Bramble Sovereign. Pay 2 and 2 green. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, you may pay 1 and a green. If you do, that creature's controller creates a token that's a copy of that creature. It's a 4/4. So there you have it. You got green doing green stuff. You can join the party now. You got a lot of ramp. You got a lot of stuff that gets things out for free. And you got stuff that gives it trample. Because green is about being big and trampling over everything else and having a lot of mana. So I hope that works for everybody. A Gore Claw would be a great addition to this one. I don't know why I don't have it in here. Maybe because I put it somewhere else. But anywho, hope you like it. Add stuff, remove stuff, have a fun casual game. Remember, rule 0, talk to people if you adjust it to make it crazy. But other than that, have fun, guys, and we'll catch you later.